So for those of you that are interested, this is 57 rock. That's what they call it here. I'm not sure what size that is. That's what I've always used here at the farm. And that is about, I think, if I remember right, 3.5 tons. So right at 7,000 pounds. And right now, in Northeast Tennessee, 57 is running, I think, about $30 a ton. I remember when this stuff was about $15 a ton. Man, things have went up over the years. Well, unfortunately, friends, it's that time of year that I have a bunch of visitors up here at the sawmill. Let me show you. So right up there on the insulation, friends, those little dots, those are stink bugs. And they come in every fall and early winter, and they try to find somewhere warm to stay for the winter. And they get up here on the ceiling, and they don't realize this is an open building. Once it starts getting colder, they'll get out of here and go try to find somewhere else. But during the spring and summer, they're mostly in trees and places like that. And my goodness, friends, they are aggravating, and they'll fly right on you, and they got some kind of aroma that they disperse, or scent rather, and it smells terrible. I guess that's why they call them stink bugs. And something else they like to do is fly around and get on cameras where people are making YouTube videos and scare them to death. We'll probably do 2 or 3 of these cherries, go spread some gravel. I've heard that happen to somebody before. I'm not sure who though. All right, guys, on the sawmill, we got a cherry. This is the one I started in the last video, but I ran out of daylight. And it's got a lot of issues, friends. We might get lucky and get maybe 4 boards off the top of this cant, because the bottom of it is pretty much rotted. You can see right there, it looks pretty bad. I'll take the camera outside and show you guys the slab that came off the bottom of this. It really shows the details as far as all the rock goes. That's a shame right there, because this would have been a decent saw log. So right there's the rest of it, guys. And as you can see, it looks pretty bad. Now there's probably somebody out there that likes to pour epoxies that would love to have this and pour epoxy in there. But unfortunately, this will be going to the burn pile today. There's a bunch of carpenter ants deep down in those holes right there. So I need to get this to the burn pile and away from everything else. All right, guys, a short delay here on the sawing. I just got a phone call from one of my tree guys, and he will be here in about 5 minutes with a load of poplar. Don't go anywhere, guys. He said this is some pretty good sized logs. Let's go check them out. All right, friends, I was not expecting these today. I'm very happy with what I see. That's one reason right there, friends. If you run a sawmill, always check your phone even when you're running the mill, because if you get a phone call about something like this, and you don't answer it, that tree service or that logger may move down the line to the next guy because they need to get them off the truck. So always be checking your phone, friends, if you're running a mill. Check these out, guys. Down there's a small end. I already measured this one. It's 30 inches on the small end. Down here it's probably about 36. Got some nice color right there, which means there's a good chance for rainbow poplar in this log. Now the rainbow poplar is caused by the mineral in the ground where the tree grows. And that's about all I know about that, friends. I know the mineral causes that, and it's kind of just getting lucky. You can't look at a poplar tree and tell if it's going to be rainbow or not until you cut it down and you see this on the end grain. A real good find right there. So as we look through these, guys, they are all just massive poplar logs. My goodness. That one right there is 26 inches. There's no taper. Got a few knots, but that's not too bad. I'll take that all day of the week right there. That first one at the rainbow had 0 knots on it. That one looks really nice. Looks like 2 different trees, because we got some hinge wood right here and some hinge wood on that one right there behind it. Let's check out the end grain down there as we prospect here and we look for more signs of the rainbow. So right here on this log, there's a few signs right there. Not a whole lot. There may be a little bit of color in this one. But right there, friends, that's that one we was just looking at that had the large knots. Check out all the color out there going on. Should be some really nice rainbow poplar right there. This is a real good lesson for you guys that are out there buying poplar logs. When you start seeing these colors, that means the poplar is going to be worth more, because the rainbow brings a lot more money than just a regular poplar does. Don't saw this up for siding or for fencing. Get this kiln dried for furniture makers, because they will pay a premium price for that color. So the tree guy that brought this over, my good buddy Greg, he scaled these out at 1,200 board feet. And if you're interested in how much I pay for this, you have to go join my Patreon page to find out. And here's why. Number one, that's a perk for being on Patreon. I tell guys how much this stuff costs. And number two, I can't put my prices out there publicly because I have a lot of customers that watch these videos. I have several tree guys and loggers that I deal with that watch these videos. And I don't want to sell myself short in the future. You don't want to tell somebody out there what you're paying for something when you're getting it from 3 or 4 different people, because one guy may charge less and cut you a better deal than he finds out you're getting it even cheaper from the other guy. So always trying to keep that under your vest. And Patreon, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, you're putting it out there on Patreon. I do, but I've only got like 100 members over there. And it's kind of a perk for being over there as far as having a membership to it. You can pay like $1 a month or $5 a month. It's pretty cheap. And you also get to see these videos before they go on YouTube without any ads. So there's my little pitch for Patreon. There's a link down below if you want to find out how much I paid for these logs. It will probably surprise you. As I take one more look here, friends, before we head up to the sawmill, most of them are 8 and 9 foot long, but these two are a little bit longer, looking at probably 12 or 14 feet on these. And I think he's coming back tomorrow with some white pines. So, a good day here at the mill. Any day you get in some nice rainbow poplar is a very good day. All right, guys, let's head up here and start on that cherry. And also, I talked in the last video about getting in a new piece of equipment. I went and picked that up this morning, and it's in the back of the truck. So as soon as we finish up this cherry, I'll bring the tractor down and we'll get it unloaded. And I'll show you guys what it is. Most of you already know. right, guys, I only got about 3 decent boards out of that log, and the rot got a whole lot worse. This is one of them. It's pretty clear, but that heartwood right there is not the best in the world. It's got a few voids right there. It's kind of soft. You can get something out of this. You could probably rip it down and do something. A lot of sapwood right there. I hate sapwood on cherry. But I'll throw these in the stacks because these are customer logs, so he can kind of pick through it when it comes out of the kiln and decide what he wants to do with it. But all 3 of those boards look about the same as this one. Let me show you what's left on the mill. All right, guys, let me squeeze in here. I should have done this before I loaded that other cherry log up here. Nothing but rot. It broke when I started to pull it back because it's so weak. It's just all punky wood right in there. Insect damage, rotten decay, just terrible stuff. I wouldn't even save this for firewood. It would go straight to the burn pile because there's probably carpenter ants down in there. Try to get this out of here and haul down to the burn pile with the rest of those ugly slabs that probably have ants in them. You can see right there where it broke. It broke all the way through, and that's about 6 inches thick. So a total loss on the rest of that log. That's the way it goes sometimes. Now on the sawmill, we have another cherry, and this one, friends, I tell you, about 2 videos back, I showed you guys down in the log yard, I was cutting about 2 foot off of it, and it's still got a terrible sweep in it down here on the other end. I want to think on this one for a few minutes and saw it the best way for the highest yield for the best lumber. Sometimes you got to sit back, friends, and don't get in a hurry when you have a log like this. Turn off your sawmill, give it a good look over. Now for you guys out there that run sawmills, this may help you. There's no shame at all when you have something on the sawmill like this and you're not sure about it. Turn off the mill, get you a cup of coffee, sit back and look at it, and kind of take your time in addressing this log and trying to come up with the best way to saw it. And if you can't come up with the best way, take some pictures and send it out to some buddies who also run sawmills and get their opinion on it. Because sometimes, friends, I will throw stuff up here and I'm just not sure about it, and I'll reach out for some help. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I actually do know the way I'm going to saw this because I've had a lot of logs on my mill just like this one. And I'll tell you guys about it here in just a minute because it's almost 5 o'clock and I got to spread some gravel because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I need to take care of that chore real fast. Then we'll come back up here and knock out this cherry. You guys hang in there. All right, friends, that didn't take too long, about 20 minutes. I got that spread out pretty good. I'm getting better on that machine as far as spreading gravel goes. It's just gonna take time and a lot of patience, I guess, to get good on it. Well, there's Mama Cat, the hatefullest cat on YouTube. How we doing today, Mama? You gonna let me pet you today? Wow. You guys are seeing something rarely seen in nature. The hatefullest cat on YouTube is letting me pet her. Well, just a little bit, I guess. Before we head up to the sawmill, before it gets dark, I should probably show you guys what's in the bed of the truck. Brace yourself, friends. This thing is nice. It is almost too nice to use. Check it out. You guys hit the thumbs up button and I'll show you what it is. I'll be waiting right here. Did everybody hit it? Okay, here we go. There it is, guys. I bought myself a brand new anvil. And my goodness, friends, this is a nice one. It's got some hardy board right there on the top that protects it during shipping. Now this right here is a double horn, which means you have your traditional horn right there, and you have another horn on this end. It just looks different. It looks like part of the anvil, but you can get under it for working on stuff. It's really nice right there. This is made by Holland Anvil. They produce these up in Michigan, and this one weighs 200 pounds, and it also has some other cool features. An upsetting block right there on the bottom. And on the very top, it does have a table on the surface. So it comes out, right there you have your work surface, and it has a table right there on the other side. More to come on this, friends, a lot more to come. I got to build another anvil stand. And I think for this one, we should make it pretty special. I'm thinking black walnut. What do you guys think? What species of wood should we use here? I got cherry, cedar, white red oak, pine, walnut. I'm thinking walnut. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see, and that's what we'll do. And I know sometimes on video, things appear smaller than they are. This thing is good size, friends. Let me put my hat right there for reference. You guys can see that is a good size anvil right there. 200 pounds. It's getting dark on me. I tell you what, the days are getting shorter. That's the only thing I don't like about fall. Other than that, it's my favorite time of the year. So real fast, we'll open this log up. I doubt I'll have time to finish it. I'm not had dinner yet at 7:30. It will be dark in just a few minutes. And you guys know I can't see nothing at night, and I've not replaced these lights up here yet either. Need to replace those. So real fast, this log does have a twist to it, not really a twist, but it's offset down here on the other end. You can see it comes, it's nice and straight, the bark is straight, and then it goes upward right here. It has a dog leg in it. And that's unfortunate, but here's the best way to deal with it if you're sawing for grade. So I'm grade sawing. I want the nicest board possible, the most stable board possible, and the clearest lumber, and the widest. You want the best you can get out of a board. So when you have a log like this and it's cherry, now here's an instance. If this was oak or poplar or pine, I'd find another use for it. But cherry, 4/4 boards for cabinet makers is really the only market in my area for cherry. I can't think of anything else that people use this stuff for. And live edge slabs, in my opinion, is a bad idea because when they dry, they crack. So when you have something like this and you're grade sawing, and that's the way it's got to be, it can't be nothing else. You do not want to saw the horns and the belly like I typically do when I have a log with a sweep to it like this. A sweep, I couldn't think of that word a few minutes ago. Because if I come in here on my first cut and I saw the horns off, which is the high side, usually you have them on both sides. With this instance, just on one side. I would cut this off right here and make it flat or coplanar with the rest of this log. But by doing that, when you saw your lumber up, as you come down through here on your cuts, after you square this up, you're going to have nice grain, nice cathedral patterns, whatever you're hitting on the grain when you're sawing it. But when you get right here, where you took off this big chunk of material to flatten it out, you're going to be hitting nothing but end grain. So you're going to have a board that's 6 foot long, and it could be quarter sawn, it could be flat sawn, depends on how the wood falls on the mill. Then when we get to this point right here, from this to the end, it's going to be nothing but end grain. And it may look okay, it may even have some nice features, but when you go to dry this stuff, it's going to be a mess, and these boards are going to be trash. They're not going to be suitable when they come out of the kiln. You'll be lucky if they don't bow up on you and twist everywhere. When you run through the planer, you're going to see some more issues. The only way to make them stable would be probably to oversaw them, maybe at 6/4, and hope that you get 4/4 boards after all the milling, but you'll have a lot of waste that way. But you understand what I mean by this? You'll have nice straight grain through here, but right here where this swell is, it's nothing but end grain because you're cutting off that part. So end grain is exposed, end grain dries faster. You're not going to come up here and anchor seal this whole end of the board. That wouldn't be feasible. So having said that, I'm going to put this on its side. So if you think about a banana, and this just has one sweep to it, I'm going to lay it flat. I'm going to saw it that way. Now my boards are going to have a crook to them, but when this comes out of the kiln, you can take these boards, and if they're for cabinet making, they're not going to be left 8 foot long anyways, and cut out that crook and have a 2 foot board maybe for a face frame and a 6 foot board for maybe a coffee tabletop or floating shelves or whatever you want to do. You know, the possibilities are endless. But by doing that, you'll have 2 boards that have nice straight grain and don't have end grain on the entire face of them. There's a place in Wisconsin, Timber Green Forestry. I can't remember the guy's name. I studied him a lot when I first got into sawmilling. And this is where I learned it from, because he did articles about this. He would lay the sweep like we're getting ready to do here in just a minute. He would dry it that way, cut the board, you know, where it has the crook, and make 2 straight boards and make that into flooring. That's another possibility for this. So having said all that, try to keep that in mind when you're sawing, guys. You don't always want to do the horns and the belly, especially if you're grade sawing. It's a terrible idea. You expose this end grain, and it may look neat. You may look at that and go, man, look at that grain, you know, that cathedral right there in the middle popping up, layered itself. It may look pretty neat, but it's going to dry at a different rate than the rest of that board, and you're going to have lots of trouble. So that's the way I do it here at my mill, and I think it's the proper way of doing it. And once again, I didn't write the rule book. Some guys get mad when I give my opinions on this stuff, but it's stuff I've learned from other sawyers. It's not like I sit around and kind of invented all this stuff on my own. This is the way the tree grows, and you got to have a good strategy to capitalize on the way that it grows, because you can't control that. So we'll go ahead, friends, and square this one up the best that we can, even though we are going to have that sweep to it. And I probably won't saw the boards yet, because like I was saying, it's getting late. It's getting dark outside. And gosh, it's getting later by the minute. I need to shut up and get sawing. I'm starving to death. I ain't had dinner yet. What are you guys having tonight? I think we're having pizza. I think that's what she said. I can't remember. Let's square this one up, friends, and hopefully it will make more sense once you see how I flip the log around. And I'm not going to do a closing statement, because once we square this up, I'm done, because it's going to be dark. So in closing here, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody on Patreon for supporting me here in the channel. And tomorrow, we will finish up this log and finally move on to that large cherry right behind the camera. That's the biggest cherry that I've ever had here. So that's coming up tomorrow. See you guys here in just a second.